Have you ever had someone knock on your door claiming there's an urgent electrical problem in your home? Someone wearing work clothes, carrying official-looking tools, and speaking with such authority that you immediately trust them? Dorothy Williams, an 83-year-old widow from Portland, Oregon, thought she was being helpful when she opened her door to what appeared to be a professional electrician. By the time she realized her mistake, she had lost $12,000 and nearly her home. Dorothy's story isn't just about money lost to criminals. It's about how professional scammers exploit our basic human instincts to trust, help, and stay safe. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how these door-to-door scams work, why they target older adults, and most importantly, how to protect yourself and your loved ones from becoming victims. Stay with me until the end, because Dorothy's experience reveals warning signs that could save you thousands of dollars and heartbreak. And the way her neighbors rallied to help her recover might restore your faith in human kindness. The knock that started everything. It was a Thursday afternoon in September when Dorothy heard the firm knock on her front door. She had been watching her afternoon talk show and wasn't expecting anyone, but the knocking was persistent and professional, not the casual tap of a neighbor or friend. Through her peephole, she saw a middle-aged man in work clothes holding a clipboard and wearing what appeared to be an official company shirt. He looked professional, clean, and trustworthy. "Mrs. Williams?" he called through the door. "I'm Mike Johnson from Pacific Power Electric. We've detected some dangerous electrical readings coming from your home during our neighborhood safety inspection. I need to check your electrical panel immediately to prevent a potential fire hazard." Dorothy's heart skipped a beat. Fire hazard? She had lived in her home for 40 years and never had electrical problems, but she also knew that electrical issues could be invisible until they became disasters. Her late husband had always handled home maintenance, and since his passing 3 years ago, she often worried about things she might miss. She opened the door, and Mike smiled warmly. He showed her an official-looking badge and explained that the city had mandated electrical safety inspections after a house fire in a nearby neighborhood. He said the readings from her home were concerning and needed immediate attention. "I don't want to alarm you, Mrs. Williams, but electrical fires kill more seniors than any other home accident. We caught this early, which is good news. I can fix this problem today and make sure you're completely safe." The inspection. That wasn't Mike asked to see Dorothy's electrical panel, which was located in her basement. As they walked downstairs, he continued talking about electrical safety, using technical terms that sounded knowledgeable and legitimate. He carried a device that beeped and flashed lights, which he said was detecting dangerous electrical surges. In the basement, Mike examined the electrical panel with his device, shaking his head and making concerned noises. He pointed to various switches and wires, explaining in authoritative tones how dangerous the situation had become. "Mrs. Williams, this is worse than I thought. Your main electrical panel is from 1978, and these old systems are fire hazards waiting to happen. See this wire here?" He pointed to a normal-looking wire. "This is overheating, and this breaker is completely shot. You could have a fire tonight." Dorothy felt panic rising in her chest. Mike continued his assessment, finding more problems with each component he examined. He showed her scorch marks on wires that she had never noticed before, explained how her electrical system was overloaded, and painted a terrifying picture of what could happen if these issues weren't fixed immediately. "The good news is, I can fix everything today. Normally, this kind of emergency repair would cost $15,000, but because this is a city safety initiative, I can do it for $12,000. And Mrs. Williams, I need to be honest with you. Waiting even a few days could be catastrophic." The pressure campaign. Dorothy's mind was racing. $12,000 was a significant amount of money for her, representing months of her fixed retirement income. But the alternative Mike described, a house fire that could kill her or destroy everything she owned, seemed far worse. Mike sensed her hesitation and intensified his approach. "Mrs. Williams, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've seen what happens when people wait. Just last month, an elderly gentleman 2 neighborhoods over lost everything because he delayed fixing electrical problems. Just like yours. He showed her his phone, displaying what he claimed were photos from that fire. The images were dramatic and frightening. A burned-out home, fire damage, belongings destroyed. Dorothy couldn't verify if these photos were real or related to electrical problems, but they terrified her. "I don't want that to happen to you. You seem like such a nice lady, and this house clearly means everything to you. Let me fix this today, and you'll sleep peacefully knowing you're completely safe." Mike pulled out official-looking contracts and began filling out paperwork. He explained that he could start work immediately, but he needed payment up front to purchase the specialized equipment required for her specific electrical system. Unfortunately, Mrs. Williams, these emergency repairs require immediate payment. The electrical supply company requires payment before they'll release the safety-grade equipment I need for your home. But don't worry, I accept cash, check, or I can even drive you to your bank if needed. The fatal decision. Dorothy felt trapped between fear and financial worry. Mike had created such urgency around the electrical danger that waiting to think about it or get a second opinion seemed irresponsible. He had presented himself as her rescuer, the only person standing between her and potential disaster. She agreed to the repair. Mike offered to drive her to her bank, explaining that he wanted to make the process as easy as possible for her. During the drive, he continued reinforcing how dangerous her situation was and how fortunate she was that he had caught the problem in time. At the bank, Dorothy withdrew $12,000 from her savings account. The bank teller, noticing the large cash withdrawal, asked if everything was okay. Dorothy, not wanting to seem foolish or create delays that might endanger her home, simply said she was having some home repairs done. Back at her house, Mike accepted the money and promised to return the next morning with his crew and equipment to begin the electrical work. He gave her a receipt and assured her that by tomorrow evening, her home would be completely safe. Mike never returned. The awful realization. By noon the next day, Dorothy started feeling uneasy. Mike had promised to arrive early, but there was no sign of him or his crew. She tried calling the phone number on his business card, but it was disconnected. Growing suspicious, she looked up Pacific Power Electric online. There was no such company. She called her city's building department to ask about mandatory electrical inspections. They told her no such inspections were taking place. The devastating truth hit her. She had been completely scammed. Dorothy spent that day crying, not just for the money she had lost, but for how foolish she felt. She was embarrassed, angry, and scared. How could she have been so gullible? How had she fallen for such obvious lies? The community response. Dorothy's first instinct was to hide her mistake, but her neighbor Sandra noticed she seemed upset and gently asked what was wrong. When Dorothy finally shared what had happened, Sandra's response surprised her. "Dorothy, this exact same thing happened to my sister-in-law in California. These people are professionals. They study how to manipulate people, especially targeting seniors who live alone." Sandra helped Dorothy report the scam to police and immediately posted warnings on the neighborhood social media group. Within hours, Dorothy discovered she wasn't alone. 3 other elderly residents in surrounding neighborhoods had been approached by similar electrical inspectors in the past month. The police investigation revealed that Dorothy had been targeted by a well-organized crew that systematically worked through neighborhoods, specifically choosing older homes and elderly residents. They used psychological manipulation techniques designed to create fear and urgency, making rational decision-making nearly impossible. The road to recovery. While Dorothy never recovered her $12,000, her story led to important changes in her community. Local police increased patrols and education about door-to-door scams. The neighborhood association created a verification system where residents could call to check on unexpected service visits. Most importantly, Dorothy transformed from victim to advocate. She began speaking at senior centers, sharing her experience and teaching other older adults how to recognize and avoid these scams. "I learned that these criminals count on our isolation and our trust," Dorothy now tells audiences. "They know we don't want to bother family members with every decision, and they know we want to believe people are good. But we have to protect ourselves." The warning signs. Dorothy missed looking back. Dorothy identified several red flags she wished she had recognized. The unsolicited visit claiming urgent safety issues. Legitimate utility companies don't conduct surprise inspections or find problems from outside homes. They always schedule appointments and provide advance notice. The pressure to act immediately. Real electrical problems that have existed for years don't suddenly become emergency hazards that must be fixed within hours. Legitimate contractors encourage getting second opinions on expensive repairs. The demand for immediate cash payment. Professional contractors provide detailed written estimates, references, and time to consider major repairs. They don't require upfront payment for emergency equipment purchases. The isolation tactics. Mike discouraged Dorothy from consulting family members or getting other opinions, claiming time was too critical. Legitimate contractors want informed customers who feel confident in their decisions. Final thoughts. Dorothy's experience teaches us that intelligence and life experience don't make us immune to sophisticated scams. These criminals are professionals who study human psychology and specifically target our vulnerabilities. The most important lesson from Dorothy's story is this: no legitimate home repair emergency requires you to make immediate decisions or payments to strangers at your door. When someone creates urgency around your safety, that urgency should extend to verifying their legitimacy, not to paying them money. If someone comes to your door claiming urgent home repairs are needed, politely tell them you need to verify their credentials and get a second opinion. Close and lock your door. Call the company they claim to represent. Contact local authorities if you're suspicious. Real emergencies like gas leaks or electrical hazards are handled by your utility companies or local emergency services, not by door-to-door salespeople who happen to be in your neighborhood. Remember, protecting yourself from scams isn't about being suspicious of everyone. It's about taking simple verification steps that legitimate professionals will understand and respect. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.